compost, healthy fertilizer, how to add things around your environment to save you money, save you time, and to just kind of know your land a little bit better. Okay, so some of our key points today are brought to us by a book called Farmers of 40 Centuries, Permanent Agriculture in China, Korea, and Japan. And let me tell you, absolutely fantastic. So we're gonna have this one, which is a little bit more of the older classic version, if you can find it. And then we did the newer version, this baby right here. Absolutely awesome. So again, Farmers for 40 Centuries, Permanent Agriculture in China, Korea, and Japan. And these books are going to be a lot of what is going on in our micro farm, and we're going to talk about that. When these two books, a really cool concept we talk about is the reuse of material and the way that they compost. The way that they pretty much held their compost structure is one of the biggest portions of the book itself, and the entirety of such good information they have. A really good key point in the book is that they would talk about how at the time, China having such a high dense population, able to sustain itself with their agricultural statuses or agricultural systems in such small areas of land, whereas for the same acreage, China was able to get 2 to 3 times more crops than that of what we were able to do in the US and some other places around the world. Back in the early 1900s, around 1905, we did these two guys going out to China, Korea, and Japan to do research based on all of it. One great thing they found out a lot of the times going to these different villages as they would travel through the different farmlands or taking the train is that they would see huge compost piles all around throughout different villages, and it was very common for all the villages to practice composting anything around that's organic throughout the year. So with the practices of being able to compost, reuse, and recycle all the material, that gave them a great amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and many local macro and micronutrients that were all around in abundance that they were able to put back into their farms. They were able to show that their soil they had was extremely rich and diverse in life as well as in nutrients because of how well their practices were for implementing and reusing what they had readily available. With that being said, we get back to what we are doing here. Here, we are doing a controlled burn, where we are taking a lot of the shrubs, brush, and different things on our site and burning it down to a ash or to different statuses of biochar, different levels of biochar, which means different chunks of wood. Some of them gets burned all the way down. Some of them you keep them kind of nice, cold, char-looking pieces. And then this we're going to use to mix back into either our compost, into a worm bin, either right back on the ground or spread around and reworking it back into the soil. This one allows us to shrink and reuse a lot of excessive material that does get built onto a property over time. It also allows us to trap and secure the nitrogen, carbon, phosphorus, potassium, and all the different elements that are being pushed out into these plants. And instead of getting rid of them, we keep them here and we're able to reuse them and recycle them and give them back to our plants that are growing that need them the most. So after our controlled burn and after we've sat and burned all this, like we said, we're gonna take this and then sift it through the crates or through any type of mesh strainer, sift that you have, and we're just going for the finer, smaller particles or some of the smaller, chunkier pieces that help with aeration in the soil. Before this, we would take any type of clay or normal soil from the ground all around us and nothing too serious, just native dirt, and we'd mix it about 1 part native dirt and about 1 part of either soil or compost that we've had already turning, or some other spot where we have under some wood, just really nice, more richer parts of soil. So 1 part native dirt, 1 part a little bit more either composted soil or wood of some form, and then we go and we mix the ash into the next part of it. So after we sift through the ash, we're going to pour all the ash and the chunkier pieces back into that. Another great thing is because it did just recently rain, the top part of soil after it rains, if you take a rake and just lightly brush that off, almost like you're sweeping your whole yard, that's some really good aeration and topsoil microbes, so we can usually mix that into our pot as well. lastly, we get to apply it, where we take the time and put it back into the compost, back into a worm bin, or whatever that is, and let that cook for a little bit longer and allow that to break it up, allow the nutrients to become plant available already through the processes of microbes or the worms. Or we can take this and apply it directly, because it is ready directly to be applied, and because our soil and our growing spots are already microbe rich, they already have the microbes that are able to convert what is going to be locked up and able to be converted for our plants to uptake it. Thank you guys for checking this out. I hope you guys learned something, and if you do like it and you do like to learn more about awesome growing and farming tips, be sure to follow us and check us out.